Okay, can you please introduce yourself? Let everyone know what you do and who you serve.
Hello, my name is Kristina Ashley Williams, and I am the pitch coach and advisor for the Twin Day Accelerator. I've had the awesome opportunity to support during this year's 2025 cohort, and I just got done watching all of their pitches. So I'm super excited to see all of the evolution from start to finish, and I feel like a proud mama.
Aw. And you've shared some of your personal experiences that you've had professionally. Can you tell us
Yes.
about some of those?
Yes. So we all know that when it comes to tech, the stats are horrendous. For Black founders, for Black women founders, it doesn't look too good on paper, right? I am part of the less than 1% of Black women who have received venture capital for a tech startup. And so that's something that I'm very proud of because I have been in the seat of those that I am now supporting within these accelerator spaces. And I know how much extra grit and grind and passion and sweat and tears goes into being an entrepreneur, not just as a solo founder, not just as a first in the family to do something, not just as an immigrant founder, but as someone that has a unique cultural perspective that has to understand how to navigate systems and structures in society to be successful in their business in the now and in the future.
What do you think is one of the biggest misconceptions about being an entrepreneur?
Biggest misconceptions that it's easy or that it's going to happen overnight. All of those overnight successes have put in years of ideation, of iteration, of failure, of trial, of error, but also perseverance, where they tapped into their strength and their resilience to be able to keep going on, even when it felt like the goal was so out of reach, or all of the rejections, whether it's from rejections of investors, rejections of family members not understanding your dreams, rejections of friends maybe not understanding why you were choosing one career path over another that may seem more stable. Being an entrepreneur means that you are betting on yourself over and over and over again, regardless of what the outside world sees or thinks of you. You are following that calling that is on your heart and that vision that is in your mind, and nobody can take that away from you.
Right. Spoken like a true coach. So, as someone who does coach
Yes.
other entrepreneurs, what do you see is the biggest self sabotager that people do to themselves in their business?
Oh, okay. That's a really good question. I think that folk that think that they know everything shoot themselves in the foot because they're not allowing themselves to be receptive to new possibilities for their success. They may have the lived experience, they may have the education, and that in combination with other people's lived experience and other people's education also can complement a faster track to the success versus thinking that doing everything on their own or doing everything just with their own perspective is the right and only way. It closes off opportunity for you to get sparks of new ideas or new resources that may be available to you that you didn't even know existed or otherwise wouldn't have had a connection or relationship to if it weren't for one person saying a little gem or planting a little seed or making a little warm intro that's to serve your benefit in the long run.
Right. And you've been obviously very personally successful in your ventures as well. Can you share a what may have seemed as a major setback at the time that ended up being something that was a blessing in disguise?
Ooh, that's a good question. A setback that ended up being a blessing in disguise. Yes. Yes. Okay. So, as a startup founder, I was living in the Bay Area and was ascribing to the hustle culture of that region because, it's Silicon Valley, right? You got all these tech entrepreneurs, you've got all this possibility, all this writing on the wall for people being able to actually turn their dreams into reality to change the world. But the rhetoric around being able to change the world is that it has to be something that is sleepless nights and is self-sacrificing in a million different ways. And you are missing out on friends and family, and you are missing out on lived experiences and life experiences that you may have valued more in a different scenario, or thought that they were worth more value to you for your time or your energy in a different scenario. Creating a life where you are living in a system that is always on and always producing and always performing is not sustainable. It's not a human nature. Some people may say that for those to be really successful, it takes the overworking and the stress to create that success. My argument is that people that are successful control their time, control their mind, prioritize their health, prioritize their schedule, have a purpose for their money, act, live, breathe, think with intention. And so when we're able to identify ways where burnout doesn't have to be the only result or a rite of passage in order to be successful, then we open up the world of opportunity for us to design our lives to our well-being and our business success. If we are not personally healthy with our mind, our body, our spirit, then our business is not going to be healthy and it's not going to be sustainable. It may look okay, it may do well for a short period, but there's going to reach a breaking point where you're going to have a mental breakdown. Your body is going to give out on you. You're going to look around and realize all of your friends are gone. The family members you really cared about, something in their life has changed and you can't get back the time where how things used to be. There is going to be lots of shifts and changes in your life because as you are doing the hard work and building your business, life is still going on around you. And so one of the biggest lessons for me was recognizing that when I thought working to an exhaustive level was my rite of passage and that's what was going to make me matter and make me a success, I realized after I went through extreme burnout, that took me a couple of years to recover from. Burnout is serious. It's not something where it's like you take a weekend, you take a nap, you recover, you take a little vacation. Your nervous system is damaged. Your brain is not operating in the executive function capacity that it is used to. You literally have a weakened immune system, a weakened nervous system, and your functionality becomes becomes a state of such heightened sensitivity that you become nervous in triggering it with different actions. And so then you put yourself in a position where you have to design your life around safety, security, stability for your internal self to feel well so that you can keep showing up and functioning in real life. So that was a long-winded way of saying hustle culture is great, but understand what your actual values are at the end of the day as far as your personal well-being. Because what you need to succeed in your business is what you need to live healthy in your life. So don't push yourself to the brink of exhaustion or burnout to prove a point to anybody. Because one, nobody actually cares about you as much as you think. You care about you and you care about what other people think about you, but they're not actually thinking about you as much as you think. So it's not worth the sacrifice. And you can design your life with intention to have block scheduling, to have pace, to have ease, and to have success, and do it with a support system in place that allows you to do it where you look at yourself in the mirror and feel healthy and happy and healed.
As you continue evolving in your own professional life
Mhm.
and personally, how does your business feed into the woman you're becoming and want to be?
I did a lot of self reflection on what my intrinsic values are at this stage in my life. Those have evolved from even 5 years ago and 5 years before that. And so when I'm able to identify what I care about as far as what brings me radical joy, I'm able to design my life in verticals that match those key components. What that also looks like for me is intentionally investigating and learning what my makeup is as a human. That means learning my astrology, learning my human design, learning my Enneagram, learning all of these different components of spirituality that help me to understand and make sense of how I think, how I believe, how I show up in the world, and designing my life based on these roadmaps that we're actually all born with and given, and can make our lives a lot easier when we create systems that work within the flow of the design of like who we are as humans. Thinking about um astrocartography and like where are places in the world that the stars actually show us we're going to be benefited from being in a certain environment, and being intentional about living in environments that reflect our highest possibility for joy. um Listening to my intuition and how I feel energetically in certain spaces, around certain people, around certain environments, what conversations actually inspire me and interest me. What environments will I meet people that can have the conversations that inspire me and create a sense of ambition to want to continue to build with them as thought partners and collaborators. Um, I've taken the time to pause and actually think about these things. So then that puts me in a position to act accordingly based on the knowledge that I know about myself. And so, being able to be in a place where I, one, had time to have some self reflection and actually like learn more about who I am right here, right now at this stage of life. And then, plan my steps accordingly to make sure that my inner compass and my North Star are clear to me so that when anything comes into my life and presents itself as an opportunity, I'm easily able to make a swift decision on if it is a yay or if it is a nay, as far as if it's in alignment with who I am and where I see myself going. I want to share a quote that I heard recently by Tracy Ellis Ross, who said, "We need to design our lives based on who we are, not based on what we want." Those are different things. So taking the time to really understand who we are at our core and designing our lives based on that information and that intuitive knowing that is intrinsic and unshakable and cannot be overshadowed or silenced by any external voice, we are then able to create a life by design based on who we are and not on what we want because we think it is going to impress somebody externally or it's going to give us some sort of superficial satisfaction that's not actually in alignment with our inner being at the end of the day.
Beautifully said. Where can we follow you in your work?
Well, I can be reached at Kristina.fyi, which is my website. I also can be found on social media at Kristina.fyi as well. And my handles are with a K. My name is Kristina, Kristina .fyi.
Thank you so much, Christina.
Thank you.